What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 86, and this is part 2 of our Week 15 review. With me tonight from Denver, Colorado, Jason Ashby. Jason, you got yourself a big win we're about to highlight here. How you feeling after this week?
Man, I'm just happy to be out alive after that long ass week against a tough competitor like Bobby Russo. That was a struggle. That was a struggle. It was a slog fest. Um, I feel beaten and battered and bruised, but I feel like a victor, so I'm ready to move forward.
Well, congratulations on the win, sir. It was a pretty tough matchup. We're going to dive right into it here in just a moment. But before we do, joining us as well from right down the hallway, my best friend and roommate and the three-time Bigs champion, our commissioner, Ben Nisman. Benny, how are you feeling this evening, sir?
Feeling great after watching 5 innings of Mets Yankees and looking forward to discussing part 2. We got a lot to discuss here as far as history and records. There's so much to break down. So, Joe, without further ado, lead us off, set the table, my friend.
Let's get going, boys. And Jason, it's time to kick this thing off with your matchup here. 12-8 victory. Tell us exactly how much of a grind this was for you this week.
It was a grind. That's a great word to use for it. It was forth all week long. The suspended game, that the Mets Red Sox suspended game over the weekend was just made things so much more difficult because Yahoo doesn't figure it out until the week is over and they put it in the stat corrections, which I hate. I think by now they should figure it out and be able to at least do it the next day. If they can't do it the day of, do it the next day. Something. I can't wait until the week is over to figure out where I'm at. And things were so close. There were so many close stats that were affected by that. Relief appearances, doubles, on base percentage, whip, all of that was a part of that suspended game, that Mets Red Sox game. And so the whole weekend I was sort of racking my brain trying to figure out where am I, where can I think that I am based on what happened in those games. It was crazy. And again, like I said, I'm just happy to come out with a victory over Bobby Russo. Like, that was incredible.
It certainly does some shaking up of the standings, having Bobby drop back and you jump up a little bit here. Talking about the Sunday of the matchup, you guys were tied in strikeouts, and Bobby struck out more than you did. Therefore, you get the category. Bobby also had a 4-tick advantage on the on-base percentage, and you ended up taking that. And Bobby did actually, you ended up tying saves here as well on Sunday. Close categories for Bobby. He wins by 2 triples and 2 losses. You win by the 3 strikeouts. What is this? It's a lot closer on the batting average than it was after the stat corrections came in. It was 3 ticks on the batting average before the stat correction. So a bit more there, but 6 ticks on the on-base percentage. 2 wins and looks like 5 ticks on the whip. You guys tied in saves, and you initially tied in relief appearances, but it looks like Bobby got one of those on a stat correction, huh?
Yeah, that was Brooks Raley coming in that resumed game that didn't, and so I like him in the back of again. That was one of the ones that I knew in the back of my head. I knew he had that. It just wasn't showing. I knew I had a double from Pete Alonso that wasn't showing. There was all these stats that were coming from that game that weren't showing, and it was pissing me off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's got to be mind-boggling when things are this close and you're trying to fight for every single stat against a guy who's fighting for every single stat to try to make the playoffs here. This is one of those nightmare situations. Benji, jump in here as a commissioner. Did you recognize that this was happening with the stat corrections?
Yeah, because I was feeling it with myself in my own matchup and trying to count out the runs and see how many I needed in order to take that statistic. So yeah, I think it was something league round that we were all kind of dealing with. I wish that there was something I could do about it, but no, this is all on Yahoo, and it's been like this since the beginning of time. It's 2023 and they still haven't figured it out. So I don't see anything changing.
Nah. All right, Jason, for your bench stats this week, you went 11 for 29.
Oh, is it my turn?
Shout it out, whoever's got it.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not good at all. I'll go with like 388.
Okay, Jason.
362.
379, right in the middle of you two guys. 2 runs, a double, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, 7 walks, and 11 strikeouts. 7 walks, if you want to get nitpicky, you needed 4 to tie there. Otherwise, nothing else plays. Your moves this week, you dropped Zach McKinstry for Chris Taylor, Nick Pivetta for Jimmy Garcia, who landed you another save. Good job getting that guy. You dropped Christian Arroyo for Tyler Soderstrom, 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout on the bench. You then dropped Will Benson for Chas McCormick, 3 for 4, 2 runs, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, a strikeout, and a fuck you from me. You dropped Brian Wu for Johnny Cueto, 3 innings, a walk, a K, a 76 on the a 67 on the whip, and a relief appearance. When did Johnny Cueto end up in their bullpen?
He just come off the IL, and I think that was their way of kind of easing him in. They put him in as long relief, but then I dropped him, and then he started the next game. So go figure.
Okay. You dropped Nick Gonzalez for Wilmer Flores, 3 for 4 with a run, 2 doubles, a homer, and an RBI, and more on that guy in a minute. You dropped Cueto and Tariq Skubal for and Chris Taylor for Edward Julian, who was nasty, but he was on the bench with a 2 for 2 and a bomb the day you picked him up. You dropped Tyler Soderstrom for Ryan Yarbrough, 5 2/3, a loss, a bomb, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 476 and a 124. Added Robert Suarez, you sneaky little guy. I was eyeing him to come off the IL, and he gave you a clean relief appearance. He dropped Ryan Yarbrough and Edward Cabrera for Emilio Pagan with a clean relief appearance and a win. Jimmy Garcia got dropped for Colin Holderman, 3 strikeouts and a relief appearance and the inning. Dropped Scott Magoo for Carlos Carrasco, who was very bad. 2 1/3, a loss, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 1929 stock market crash, and a 514 whip. That is nasty.
He's up 10 hits. He's up 10 hits.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah. Your MVP this week, man, I'm actually gonna give it to Wilmer Flores here, who just showed up with his bat and was like, I got you this week, Jason. 474 with a 500, 5 runs, 3 doubles, 4 bombs, 7 RBIs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Why did you pick this guy up? And was it solely because of all the tears he shed in 2015?
Yes, I'm still feeling it. I have all the feels. No, you know what? He had a series in Cincinnati, and I think they were throwing 2 lefties, and we know that he can hit lefties. And in the Great American Small Park, like, I figured there was a good chance that he would do pretty well. And I gotta say, even after that, he's still, been hitting pretty well. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of a ride here.
All right. I'm wondering how much longer you've got on Dalton Varsho with his 160 and 192 this week with 10 strikeouts. It's getting to a point where this guy just is not cutting the mustard with his 215. And
yeah,
at some point he might have to go. He is the least valuable hitter this week. Yeah. The Cy Young this week, man, can it be anybody but Corbin Burns? 14 innings, 2 wins, 3 walks, 23 strikeouts, nothing earned, in an 050 whip. I would say that's the type of dude that gets traded for, right, Jason?
This is what I wanted. This is exactly why I dealt Wander Franco and Ryan Presley to get this guy, and then I felt comfortable trading Carlos Rodon, which obviously right now Jazz is still obliquing, but like, this is why I feel comfortable doing it, because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Cy Yuck is the aforementioned Carlos Carrasco. We talked about him. For Bobby on his bench this week, Benjamin, it's 11 for 47.
Oh, that's annoying. 223.
Jason?
218.
What
11 for 47.
I don't know, 230.
It's 234 actually, with 7 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 3 RBIs, a steal, 3 walks, and 15 strikeouts. Not a single bit of it plays this week. His transactions this week, he dropped Johan Oviedo for Taylor Clark, 2/3 of an inning, a loss, a 40-50 ERA. It was bad. He dropped Taylor Clark for Mason Englert, 2 1/3, a loss, a bomb, a walk, a 34.71 ERA, and a 4.71 WHIP. He dropped Julio Teheran for Angel Perdomo, an inning and a third, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 150, and a relief appearance. He dropped Aaron Bummer for Jordan Balazovic, an inning, a win, a walk, and a 1 whip in his relief appearance. Dropped Kyle Gibson for Brian Baker, who didn't appear. Dropped Angel Perdomo for Brennan Bernardino, who was benched. And dropped Colin Ray for Kike Hernandez, 2 for 4 with a strikeout. And Kike just got traded back to the Dodgers.
He did.
That's fun. His MVP this week is Corbin Carroll, 235 with a 333. 9 runs, a triple, 3 bombs, 6 RBIs, 3 steals, 4 walks, 12 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter, the same question I have about Dalton Varsho is the question I have for Bobby about Anthony Volpe. 143 with a 226, 5 runs, a double, an RBI, a steal, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts, and 2 errors. He's hitting 209. Not exactly what you want out of your starting shortstop every day. I guess that's why he went and got Willy Adames. His Cy Young this week, Emmanuel Clase, 3 innings, 2 saves, 4 strikeouts, nothing earned, an 0.33 and 3 relief appearances. And the Cy Young is the aforementioned Mason Englert. Benji, dive into this one, man. What are you hearing here?
Well, it was mostly controlled by Jason here. I feel like he had a lead most of the week, and Bobby closed in on it a little bit. But at the end of the day, this is kind of the score that I expected around Wednesday, Thursday, for Jason to win by either 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. And obviously just wrecking the standings again, and just another guy that we have to worry about crashing the playoff party. Like there isn't enough. There are 10 now that we could say could be in the dance. And congratulations to Jason. But as a guy trying to make it, it's just a little bit frustrating just seeing another guy possibly crashing the party.
So many playoff hungry teams this year, and 4 of them are going to get their hearts broken. It's going to be a fantastic finish. Jason, I'll let you have the floor on this one. It was a hell of a matchup with Bobby. Is there anything else that you want to throw in on this one?
Yeah, I again, the fact that it was a long week just absolutely made my life a living hell for 10 days. It was rough because I am somebody who typically uses all 12 of my ads, and having to budget that over a long period of time against an opponent like Bobby was really hard to do. And especially he didn't use very many. We know he doesn't, but the ones that he used them wisely, and it was hard. It was definitely a challenge, and I texted Bobby afterwards, and we both said it was a great matchup, and it was.
Schedule going forward here, Benji. We've been talking about that a lot here the last few shows, and let's take a look at that here. For Bobby, he's got Mike Sherman this week, Christian next week, Kostas and Frank are the next 4, and he finishes with Henry, myself, and Adam Lowenstein. Is it a path to get him in?
Yes, it is, but he's going to need help from the rest of the league, other guys spoiling for him. I mean, it's certainly not the easiest of schedules. I mean, when you've got to face 3 WNW members in a row in Frank, Henry, Joe, that's not going to be easy. I mean, I really think that those 3 matchups, after those 3, we'll know if this guy is getting in or not. And then, yeah, that last matchup against Adam could be a trap matchup, or it could be a cookie. It's hard to say, but I really think those three matchups, Frank, Henry, Joe, that's where his season is.
His season lies in that 3-week stretch. As for Jason, he currently has Christian, then it's Kostas, Adam, Henry, myself, Adam, and then it finishes with you, Ben. Now, that matchup in week 22 might be a play-in game. It's a very similar schedule here, obviously, to what we just saw with Bobby. The difference being that he doesn't get two of the he doesn't get the Sherman matchup that Bobby gets right now. He had him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is Jason?
Yeah, because
does Jason have this path too?
Yes,
he
absolutely.
follows me in the schedule. So that's
yes. I feel like he does. It's just the fact that right now Jason is what, 10 over?
Is that where you're at, Jason?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 10 over.
10, yeah. So that's the only thing that's against him, that right now he's below those guys. So he needs even more help than Bobby needs. So it's going to be tough, but absolutely doable. There's plenty of time for him to take one of those spots.
All right. Anything else to add on this matchup, gentlemen? Let's jump to the next one. Jason, what is it?
All right. Let's do it. Let's talk this Henry matchup, because holy cow, I cannot wait to get into this. Because holy shit.
Never before seen in this league. Never before seen, never before done. 21-0 clean sweep. Benji, I'm going to give you a moment here just to speak to the history that we are looking at.
Well, we know that in 2019, Mike Haber had the first shutout, 18-0 over Chris Levy. You're putting me on the spot to find out what week it was in. I know it was somewhere in the middle of
early.
the season.
I want to say it was. I want to say
somewhere
it was
in
fairly early, because
Oh.
Levy needed to fight back from that to get toward the playoffs, and he almost told a story that year.
Very nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're dealing with a major history now, and obviously, I can't imagine this ever happening again. It's weird that it happened against Ari, who's been with us since 2003. Like, this is one of the founding fathers. So, and it's happening in favor of a guy who's never played in this league before. So it really is amazing in a way when you think of all the little stories that are going on. I'm really, really proud of him. I hope he's proud of himself. I'm sure he didn't really expect this to necessarily happen. I feel like this was going to be like a learning season for Henry. And now, as far as all the guys that are fighting for a playoff spot, this is the one guy that I feel very confident is going to the dance. And the reason why I think that is based on schedule. I mean, he really has it as far as the best schedule. Maybe there's one other guy, but in general, probably the best schedule one can ask for going into this thing.
We'll get to that after we finish up this matchup. Jason, what do we got here? You did the research on this one.
Yeah. Obviously, look, it catapults him into first place. Close categories, there weren't a whole lot. Henry won by a triple and 2 wins. That's it. Yep.
And those were his concerns on Sunday. I do remember that distinctly, that he's like, I'm not gonna call it until it's completely over. He has Masataka Yoshida in the night game. He could hit a triple, but all of these things are close. The pitching was close as well. He had Giolito pitching Ari did, for that matter, had Giolito pitching in a game where the White Sox were winning, and they lost. That guaranteed that Henry was going to win the wins category.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And nothing else was really all that close. And it was pretty much that way, at least for the weekend. Like, when we really started tracking this thing, it was just as dominant as you could possibly get. His bench, if it matters, he went 21 for 86.
All right.
228.
257.
244.
Okay. I went the wrong way.
19 runs, 2 doubles, 6 homers, 13 RBIs, 7 walks, 16 strikeouts, and error. None of it plays.
None of it plays.
Yeah, because
No way.
you won everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that was Henry's bench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was expecting that to be Ari's bench.
Yeah. No, that was Henry's bench. He also left some pitching on the bench, but again, it didn't matter.
Right.
His moves this week, he used 9 ads. Dropped Jake Rogers and Andrew Vasquez for Young Gomes, 1 for 4 with a strikeout, and Steven Matz, 4 1/3, 2 homers, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 831 and a 162. He dropped Matz, Colin McHugh, and Zach Littell. He picked up Jamison Taillon, 5 2/3, a homer, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 476 and a 141. He added Kerry Carpenter, 0 for 4 with a run, a walk, and a strikeout, and added Bo Naylor, 0 for 4. He dropped Carpenter and Naylor, picked up Dakota Hudson, 3 innings, a strikeout, a 6 and a 167 against the Marlins, and picked up Jojo Romero for an inning, a third, a strikeout, an 075 whip, and a relief appearance. He added Alex Kirilloff, who had been red hot. He went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, and then dropped him, and he's still red hot. And then he dropped Jojo Romero for Domingo Herman for tonight's start.
Was that all 12?
He used 9.
9.
He used 9 for the week. Yep.
All right.
His key players, because there has to be somebody, right, in this week. Kyle Tucker is MVP, 429 with a 500 on base, 6 runs, 5 doubles, 4 homers, 12 RBIs, 3 steals, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Wow.
Yo, shout out to Jan Gomes, who got him the 2 triples too.
Yeah, right. From Jan Gomes, when is he gonna get triples?
Right. That's when Henry texted me and said, "Really, like a stream catcher getting 2 triples? I actually feel badly."
Yeah.
It's like that's when you know, like what you're touching gold. Whatever you do at that point, like you're stupid, stupid hot.
And like that's the thing, like seeing how far this goes. But that's something to remember, right? Is the week that I got 2 triples from Jan Gomes. Like that's the thing.
Winning that category solidifies the 21-0. Without Jan Gomes, he doesn't pull it off completely. And there's arguments to be made. It's 1-0 in Ari's favor in that category without this guy. So
absolutely. His least valuable hitter, there has to be somebody. So Matt Vierling, he's just a bench piece anyway. 091 with a 157, a double, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. On the pitching side, his Cy Young's going to be Garrett Cole. I lost him.
12 1/3, 2 bombs, 2 walks, 21 strikeouts, a 219 and an 073. It's a nice day. It's a nice line.
Yeah, and his Cy Young is Andrew Vasquez for 2/3 of an inning, 27, a walk, and a 750 whip. But like again, I can't fault anybody on this roster for doing anything because this is just the most dominant thing we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the only time we've ever seen this. So anybody who was bad didn't cost him anything.
No.
Right. So, all right, now it's on to Ari's bench. He goes 1 for 130.
How many for 130?
31.
31 for $130.
31 for 120 would be 250. So it's less. It's pretty good.
Yeah. 219.
Yeah, I was gonna go in that realm. I'll say 216.
238.
Okay.
14 runs, 7 doubles, a triple, 6 homers, 19 RBIs, 2 steals, 12 walks, 44 strikeouts, and an error. The triple happened on the very first day of the matchup. It was more catchers getting triples. Shea Langeliers hit a triple on the bench on that Friday, and Danny Jansen didn't really do much. So like that was he had 19 RBIs. He needed 17 of them to tie the category.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. He had 12 walks. He needed 5 of those to tie the category. But I mean, yeah.
It was just such
The
a
triple is-
dominating. It was just such a dominating win by Henry. Like all of these things. Yeah, sure, you could try to get these in. You're not going to get 17 more RBIs in. It's just not going to happen.
And you know, Ben, I don't know if you've talked to him, but like I the whole time I was trying to imagine what it must feel like to be in that situation. Like, what do I even do? Do I even try? Do I just let it ride? Like, I don't know what his thoughts were.
His thoughts were really just like, I couldn't hit, I couldn't pitch, like basically nothing was going right.
Yeah.
He didn't really acknowledge the fact that the score was what it was, or that it was a shutout. I'm positive that he knows about it, but knowing my brother the way that he does, it's to him, it's just another loss, you know.
Fair.
And
Okay.
it's
Well,
not.
turn the page. You got to turn the page. You can't dwell on it at this point.
Right. He did use all of one ad. He dropped Matt Dice for Jesus Sanchez, 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. That's it. For his key players, his MVP is.
I'm sorry, Jason. You're breaking up here. Who's their MVP? Who's the MVP here, Jason? You're breaking up real bad.
Oh, sorry. Am I good?
No.
Yes, no?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, that's better.
Well, it is Yoshida.
What was it?
308
Masataka Yoshida. There we go.
Yeah. I run 3 the triple. Homer guy and steal 1-7 strikeout.
Oh, this is brutal. Move on to his least valuable hitter.
Okay, his least batter, there's a bunch of them. Teoscar Hernandez, Ryan McMahon, Josh Young, Jorge Soler, and Bo Bichette. All had double-digit strikeouts. All of them were crappy. So pick your favorite one. Yeah. And again, in a week like this, it's easy to find guys on the losing team who were bad. So there was just a lot of bad performances on this team this week.
I'll vote for Ryan McMahon because he had 13 strikeouts and 2 errors.
There you
My
go.
vote.
On the pitching side, it's going to be Blake Snell as his Cy Young, 10 innings, a loss, 10 walks, and 11 strikeouts. But a .90 whip. He had one game where he walked 7 guys. But aside from that, he was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And his Cy Young is going to be Giolito, 8 2/3 over 2 starts, a loss, 3 homers, 8 walks, 14 strikeouts, an 8.31 and a 2.31.
Not the best set of starts here from Giolito, and if we're honest, Giolito hasn't had the best season. Oh wow, his ERA is down under 4. That's pretty good. Gentlemen, it's history made. It's a rookie at the top of the standings. Benji, I'll give you the floor here once again to welcome our new number 1 team and sing his praises as we usher in Henry Collins as number 1.
Yeah, so I did some digging, and you were right, Joe. 2019 week 2 for Mike Haber over Chris Levy, 18-0, and Henry outdoes it. It's 21-0. Can't beat it. Can't get better than it. You could try and tie it. I think it'll be many, many, many decades before that happens. So, especially with the league the way it is. I mean, every guy that you play is going to be a challenge, and it's only going to get better. And Henry Collins, right? This is the new guy in the league. He's never actually played fantasy baseball, at least to this extent. And look where he is at the top of the standings. I think it's a playoff berth more than likely soon. Obviously, we got to see all the chips fall before that happens, but it's amazing to see, because what it is saying is that this league is only getting better and it will only continue to get better. I'm really proud of him. I hope that he's proud of himself. Congratulations, Henry, for being number one and for doing something that none of us have done and probably will never, ever do.
Absolutely. H, you did something that we've never seen before, probably will never see again. Welcome to this league. Welcome to the honorary throne at this moment. Casanova takes over the top spot once again. Jason, let's move on to the next one. What do you got for our next matchup here?
All right. That is going to be the number 2 team. That's going to be Mike Haber taking down Christian Wood, just as he should. And it kind of, he's back up there in number 2, right there behind Henry. And, it was just a good, solid win for Mike.
No doubt. No doubt. What did we see here for bench stats, my friend?
All right. Well, close categories. Mike wins by 4 ticks. Yeah, let's do that. 4 ticks on the average, 2 saves, and 2 ticks on the whip. Christian wins by 2 wins and 2 homers allowed, and they tied in triples and steals. And on the bench for Mike Haber, he goes, here you go, 9 for 45.
Oh, that's awesome.
200.
I'll go 200.
200. Yep. Nice even 200. 4 runs, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 6 walks, 11 strikeouts, and absolutely none of that plays. Well done.
Well done, Mike.
He only used 5 batters this week. He added Taylor Walls, who went 0 for 6 with 2 strikeouts. Dropped Walls for DJ LeMahieu, 1 for 5 with a run, a walk, and a strikeout. Dropped LeMahieu for Kyle Hendricks, 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, a 150 and 083 against the Nationals. He dropped Domingo Herman for Will Benson, 1 for 2 with a run, a double, an RBI, and 2 walks. And then dropped Nate Pearson for Dory Morita, 2/3 of an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. For his key players, I'm giving his MVP. This was close. I'm giving it to Bryce Harper, but I'm going to give a shout out to Jonah Heim. But Bryce Harper, 286 with a 375, 7 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 5 RBIs, 2 steals, 5 walks, and 9 strikeouts. The 10 RBIs from Heim is really good too, though.
Absolutely. I'll take that out of my catcher.
You're right. The least valuable hitter was dropped today. That's Joey Votto. A nice 069 with a 229 on base, a run, a double, a homer, 3 RBIs, 5 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Gross.
Yeah.
The Cy Young, well, finally, Justin Verlander. 8 innings, a win, a homer, a walk, 7 strikeouts, a 113 and an 050. About time. And the Cy Young is Braxton Garrett, who had been really good, but not this week. 7 2/3, a loss, 3 homers, a walk, 10 strikeouts, a 1174 with a 183 whip.
Gross.
Yeah. About time that guy came down to earth. For Christian on his bench, he goes, 8 for 27.
Yeah. No.
8 for 27. 3 23. 321.
I'll go 291.
296.
Oh, good job, Joe.
Thanks, man.
Close was not going over. 296, 6 runs, a double, a homer, 2 RBIs, a steal, 7 walks, 9 strikeouts, and an error. The steal is the only thing that plays that would have won the category. It happened on Tuesday, the 18th. He had Outman on the bench with a stolen base while Luis Matos out of the lineup in center field. Otherwise, nothing else really played. He also benched pitching that I don't think really came back to hurt him. So he didn't add a single person. He dropped Nick Anderson, Yanni Trinos, and AJ Minter, but did not add anybody. His key players, his MVP is going to be Adam Frazier, I guess. 316 with a 350, 4 runs, a double, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, a strikeout, and an error. It wasn't the best of offensive performances this week from Christian, so it's kind of hard to find somebody.
He only struck out once,
gonna...
so yeah, I guess that'll count.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I don't even know how many times he came back, but that's the best I could find. Least valuable hitter is going to be Alex Verdugo, 77 with a 200 on base, an RBI, steal, 4 walks.
Bad week for Verdugo. Real bad week.
But
ugly week for Verdugo.
And on the pitching side, his Cy Young is going to be Patrick Sandoval, 7 1/3, a homer, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 1.23 and a 0.68. And the Cy Young is going to be Mitch Keller, 5 innings, a loss, 3 bombs, a walk, 7 strikeouts, a 10.80 and a 2.
Who was that bad start from Keller against? Oh yeah, the Angels. Yeah, they tore him up. Absolutely tore him up. All right. Mike Haber might be the next team that we're talking about being on the bubble or punching his ticket. Benjamin, where do you sit on that sort of spectrum? If there's a bubble boy to ticket already punched.
I would go with ticket already punched. If my gut is telling me that he's going to the dance, his schedule is basically in his favor. The skill of the manager is arguably better than anyone day to day. He got 4 gifted stats against James McCloskey back in week 7 from James missing the minimum. I think those will play into where he sits at the standings, whether it's a bye or getting 6th place even. But I believe that this is a playoff team this year.
The schedule goes as such: Kostas, and then Frank, Henry, myself, Adam, you, Benjamin, and then James McCloskey in the final week. A lot of guys to be fighting with, and he does sort of control his own destiny here. Jason, would you want this schedule or the one that you have, which is literally probably like one off here?
Is one off because I follow him in the schedule. So yeah, it's the same. But it's cool. You know, I think what it hinges on is this week from Henry. Like how much of this, I don't say fluke, but obviously he's not having another 21-0. So what happens after this? Where does he go from this? And I think that's a very part of his schedule and my schedule.
Yeah, it's just the fact that, okay, Henry's got a tough matchup here against Josh Haber, but his next matchup is Matt Loosee. He does get to see Christian. I mean, that's kind of why I feel like Henry is knocking on the door. Like it's just to me it's whether he's getting a bye or not as far as Henry goes.
Yeah, we didn't cover it, but Henry's schedule is Josh Haber now, then Matt Loosee, Mike Haber, and then you, Jason, Bobby, Christian, and Kostas in the final week. Now, that Kostas matchup we thought initially could be a play-in game. Now we're talking like that might be Kostas' season on the line. Benji, you're nodding your head. You feel really confident about this particular scenario playing out.
Yeah, I completely agree, actually. And as we get into this Kostas matchup against Matt Loosee to finish the show, but yeah, it's feeling like more and more that Kostas' final week will be a must win for him.
Interesting. Even with a 13-6 win here over Matt Loosee. That's a nice segue, isn't it, Jason?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go. It is a 13-6 win. It does put Kostas back in 5th place. It was interesting. Like at some point in the week he was down, and then he finally did turn it around. Obviously, it's a long week, so there was no real pressure, but it was just interesting to see. For the close categories, Kostas wins by 3 doubles, 3 steals, 2 errors. Matt wins by a loss, and they tied in triples and home runs allowed. For Kostas on his bench, he goes 13 for 42.
I was gonna say, is that a 250? No, it would not be a
No
250.
way. It's closer to 300.
Yeah, I was gonna say now I'm thinking like 288.
309.
Oh, 310.
Nice job, Benji.
Yeah, well done.
You throw
Six
enough of
runs.
them at the wall, eventually one is going to stick.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 2 doubles, a triple, 3 steals, a walk, and strikeout, and an error. The triple would have won the category. It happened on the first Saturday of the week. He had whichever Castro he owns, Willie Castro. Willie Castro had a triple. Yeah, Willie Castro had a triple on the bench, while Michael Garcia went 0 for 7 across a doubleheader. So there's that. Yeah.
Willie Castro also tripled for him tonight, so that's fun.
And he also stole a base in that same game. So the stolen base didn't matter, but the triple is what mattered there.
Yeah.
He only used 2 ads. One was on Jose Soriano, an inning, a walk, a strikeout, a 2-whip, and a relief appearance when he dropped Angelini. He dropped that Soriano guy and then picked up Kyle Harrison for his NA spot, and that's it. His key players, his MVP, we say this every week, but who else but Freddie Freeman? 441 with a 568, 13 runs, 4 doubles, a triple, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, 9 walks, and 8 strikeouts.
That's across 10 days.
Yeah,
and he hit 440.
It's video game numbers.
Okay.
I mean, shout out to JD Martinez, who had 11 RBI, but you can't beat with this guy.
Yeah.
The least valuable hitter is going to be Lourdes Gurriel, 167 with 189, 2 runs, a double, 2 RBIs, 4 strikeouts. Shout out to JT Realmuto's 11 strikeouts, but he at least took 2 bombs and 6 RBIs.
Yeah, and 2 steals.
And 2 steals, yep. The pitching side, it wasn't a great pitching week. It was a weird pitching week for Kostas. So I'm giving his young to Will Smith. 4 2/3 over 4 relief appearances, 2 saves, 3 strikeouts, nothing earned, and an 0.43 whip. And it's going to be Alek Manoah, who might be the Cy Young of the year just because of where he was coming into the season. 8 1/3 or 2 starts, lost, 2 homers, 9 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 756 and a 180 gross.
Yeah, and Manoah's still throwing to a 6.10 ERA across 72 innings. He's had just all kinds of ridiculous problems and been down in AAA and AA and reworking the entire mechanics of his delivery. So you're right. He might be the Cy Young of the entire season.
Yeah. Just because of the name and the pedigree.
Yeah.
Switching over to Matt Loosee. On his bench, he goes 3 for 17.
182.
177.
176.
Oh, Benji on fire now.
You throw enough of them against the wall, eventually one is going to stick.
Just keep throwing them. 2 runs, a double, an RBI, a steal, a walk, 7 strikeouts. None of it plays. He did bench a save from Kevin Ginkel early in the week, but it didn't really matter. He did make ads. He used 5 ads. He added Nick Pivetta. More on that guy in a second. Dropped Brady Singer for Josiah Gray. Josiah Gray went 5 innings, a loss, a homer, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 720 and a 220 against the Cardinals. Dropped Jake Sporbs. I never know how to say his name, so it's Sporbs. Yeah. He finally dropped Jesse Chavez out of his IL spot. and dropped Eddie Rosario. Picked up Jason Hayward, 0 for 4 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Picked up Alex Young, 2/3 of an inning in a relief appearance. And picked up Brian De La Cruz, 1 for 4 with a strikeout. For his key players, his MVP is Justin Turner because there's really nobody else. 265 with a 289, 8 runs, 4 doubles, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 2 errors. The side hitter, France, what a garbage year he's having. 133 with a 212, 2 runs, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. Yeah, he's having a rough go of it.
Yeah, 247 with single-digit homers. That's not good.
No. On the team, well, we mentioned Nick Pivetta. For the week, 7 innings win, 2 walks, 14 strikeouts, and 0.29, and 2 relief appearances. He had that bulk relief appearance against the A's. I dropped this guy. Matt picks him up, and he gets 6 1/3 with 13 strikeouts in a relief appearance. So
it was a ridiculous 6 1/3 innings, 13 strikeout relief appearance. That was gross.
Yeah, it was just disgusting. And he was originally supposed to be the bulk guy on Sunday against the Mets, and he came in for an inning on Saturday instead. So he didn't get a chance to be that bulk guy. But imagine if he did. It would have been doing a wild week. Shout out to Kyle Bradish, who did have 13 1/3 normal innings, a win, a loss, a homer, 2 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 135 and 083. He had a really good week too, but you just can't ignore what Pivetta did. And his Cy Young rather is going to be Brian Bayo. 10 innings, a win, a loss, 5 homers, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, an 810 and a 150. And now he's having a baby. Yeah. So there you go.
How nice. Benjamin, how are you seeing this matchup? And are we staring at another playoff team in Kostas Paragios?
Initially, after the week ended, after the bell, we saw that the score was 14-5. And through all the stat corrections, probably that game on Friday with the Mets and Red Sox, all of a sudden, 13-6, a +9 and a +7, there is a difference. And if I could be blunt to say that Kostas's win probably needed to be better than a 13-6. Does that mean that he's in trouble? No, I don't think so. He still can control his destiny. If he can dominate over the next 7 weeks, he should be fine, but he's got a challenging schedule for the most part. Obviously, he does get Christian in there. So that's his one potential cupcake. Other than that, it's going to be a challenge. And we've talked about how he had a pretty brutal draft, but he's made it work with this group. He's got the nice bullpen, but I don't know. It's going to be a grind for him for sure.
And that schedule looks thusly. He does have the what we've called the meat grinder here, the gauntlet of Mike Haber, Jason Ashby, and Bobby Russo back to back. He does get Christian right after that and Mike Sherman, but finishes up with Frank and Henry. Those 2 guys are not going to go lightly on anybody either. So that's going to be really interesting to see how he puts together the next 3 weeks to sort of hold steady in the playoff hunt. Or is he going to fall back and need the 2 weeks to get himself back into it before the final 2 weeks? Those final 2 weeks are going to be really important, but if he stumbles along the way, this could get ugly. As for Matt Loosee, we're talking about a spoiler team here, and we're hoping that this guy is going to give us at least something, right, Benji?
I hope so, but I'm not seeing it. He'll put in his pitchers, but then right before 7 o'clock, you see that there are guys with X's in his lineup and guys that could get moved in, and it seems to almost never happen. So here's what I'll say. What could happen? Mike Trout's going to come back probably just in time to play against me, and that's going to be a bitch. I'm kind of assuming that that could be the difference in my season. The fact that I have to play Matt Loosee with Mike Trout. For right now, I'm wondering if this could be the worst fantasy baseball team we've ever had. And that's before that we had an inning minimum. This is before we had a move limit. Like, this is as bad as it gets. And this is with a guy like trying maybe 65%. It's very disappointing to see, very frustrating from a commissioner standpoint. The fact that anyone that has him on the schedule, it's like, this is the juicy matchup that we can just dump truck this guy. And that's what it's typically been.
What we are seeing are quite a bit of dump truckings. The guy got beat 17-1 by Bobby, 17-4 by Adam, 14-3 by myself. And the rest of his 14-5 by my co-host, 15-5. Make sure it counts. 11-7 by Jason for what that's worth. That being said, like, that one's probably not good enough when everybody else is dumping him like this. The rest of the way, it's Frank, Henry, myself, Adam, you, Benjamin, James McCloskey, and finishes up with Brian Lebo. Jason, how are you feeling as not one of those 7 to get a late season layup?
Yeah, I gotta make this week count as Christian. That's what I say. It's an interesting schedule. You know what? Like in real baseball, you got who's in front of you. So I'm not worried about what other people are doing. I just gotta worry about what I'm doing.
No doubt. Good answer, my friend. Good answer. I believe it's come to that time of week, as I said on part 1. We're not doing any records. It's a long week, so unless they broke the all-time record, I wouldn't be saying anything about it, and nothing did. Therefore, gentlemen, it is that time of week once again where we talk about managers of the week. Now, can we all get number 1 out of the way first and say that Henry Collins is the number 1 manager of the week, having put up a 21-0 beating?
No, we can't. We have to save it. We go third, then second, and then we talk about first.
Fine. All right.
That's how it goes.
All right. Jason, who is your number 3 manager of the week?
This was kind of a toughie for me. Just the way the scores fell. Can I just make Henry 1, 2, and 3? Does that count?
No.
No. Okay. Then I guess I'm gonna give it to Frank here for squeaking out an 11-9. It was a big lead at some point during the week, but it's still a big win against another playoff competitor team. And the fact to get the pin and stay in the hunt is big at this stage of the game. So I had to give it to Frank.
All right, Frank as the number 3. Ben Nisman, who is your number 3 this week, sir?
Got to follow up on that. I give it to Frank Bucco. Very tough manager to play against. Yes, you saw the lead diminish, but he never relinquished it. He was really, really holding strong, sticking to his guns as far as who's going to pitch, sticking to who's on his roster as far as the offense goes, and he's rewarded with a win, very critical win going down the stretch.
Absolutely. It's a win that he needs, and I did talk with him today, and as I stated in part 1, he did in fact tell me, and I quote, "How the fuck can I beat the first place team and then fall 3 spots in the standings? How does that work? It's pissing me off." Swear to God.
Because of numbers, Frank.
Mm-hmm. Math.
Yep.
Math.
You got to see the win-loss record. That's what matters.
Because of that, I'm giving my number 3 to Jason Ashby, because Jason needed a big win here this week, and he got it over Bobby Russo. That is another good win for a team chasing in the hunt. And it shuffled up the standings quite a bit. So congratulations, Jason. Number 2, Jason. Who is your number 2?
I give it to our commissioner, Ben. Yeah, 3-5 win. I mean, against Mike Sherman, who had been hot coming in, and I know you were worried about this matchup going into the week, and you just squashed them like a bug. So, congrats to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep, smashing that bug, that thorn in the side, that trap matchup that you could certainly end up tripping up and falling out of the playoffs. Benji, you were also my number 2 manager of the week, so
Thank you very
congratulations
much.
for on another big win this week. Now, who is your number 2 manager of the week?
I'd like to pass it on to a gentleman that gave me number 2. Jason Ashby is number 2 for me. Very tough matchup. Very, very important win for him. If this goes in the other direction and Bobby wins 12-8, Jason's season starts becoming on the line, and he gave himself some breathing room here. He played really, really well as far as how to delegate his ads under the circumstances, trying to figure out what stats were gettable, which stats were not. Really, really impressive win from Jason.
I could just hear Bobby Russo now going, hey, wait a minute. I beat guys all the time, and I don't get glad-handed as much as the 3 of us are doing with each other right now, right? Like, oh, Benji, you're my number 2. Oh, that's Jason's my number 2. Oh, God, Ben. I could hear Bobby from here in Manahawkin screaming at his
I'm on the show.
Yeah, come on, Bobby. Come on to the show. Review it with us one time. Hell, come over to Big's HQ. We'll set you up with a headset.
Love it.
Number 1 is Henry Collins, right, gentlemen?
Yes.
Benji, one more time. Tell them all about it.
The best in the league right now. What else can you say? He's just under me as far as ERA. I have a 3.51 leading the way all season. He's 3.53 as far as whip goes. The dude is right on top, a 1.18 whip. That leads the way. He's 10-3 in wins. He's 10-2 in saves. He's 10-4 in strikeouts. He's 12-3 in ERA. He's 11-4 in whip. The guy is absolutely killing it here. Offensively, 10-4 in doubles. That's about it. 9-5 in stolen bases, as far as things to acknowledge on the offensive side. He's put himself in a spot where he's got like this pitching juggernaut, a machine that's working, between having Garrett Cole as the ace, say like Luzardo is the number 2, or Morton, whomever he has there. But it's been such a lethal group as far as between the rotation and having enough closers to outplay whoever he's basically playing all season, whoever it is. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 guys that can compete with him in saves, but pretty much no one, man. So I give him a ton of credit there. And he's really built something. As far as what you'd expect a rookie to be doing in the draft, like we came out of the draft thinking like he had a nice draft, like he had a good draft. We didn't realize it was as good as it actually was.
Mm-hmm. And the one small trade here to tinker with this team in order to put something that he believes in behind the plate in MJ Melendez. His schedule the rest of the way is Josh Haber, Matt Loosee, Mike Haber, Jason, Bobby, Christian, and finishes with Henry. Finishes with Kostas. Those guys on that schedule should be quite concerned that this rolling avalanche is coming at them at this point. He is, I'm sorry, 39-2 in the last 2 weeks after alternating ties and close matchups each of the previous 6. So this didn't come out of nowhere. This guy has been building momentum for the last 6 weeks. And all of a sudden, he's just hit the right guy at the right time with the right amount of force to crush out a 21-0 historic win. I think that's how we're going to close this show. Jason, thank you so much for being here with us tonight, man.
Absolutely, guys. Always a pleasure. And this is, really 10 teams right there in the mix, and I can't wait to see how it shakes out.
10 teams in the mix for 6 spots. Benji, have you ever seen it this close?
No way. Absolutely not. With 7 weeks to go, when we can actually when you look at the schedules and you see the reason why even 10th place, which is you, Joe, right now, absolutely has a path to the postseason because the other guys are playing each other and can cancel each other out. I've never, ever seen anything like this. Might never see it again. It's amazing for this league. It's incredible that in week 22, we could have 8 to 10 teams fighting for the last couple of spots. Incredible.
Absolutely insane. And that is why we started this. That is why we do this for this league, because you guys make it possible. Without your content, without your play in this league, we have nothing to talk about. So thank you all so much. Like, share, and subscribe as always. And until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.